released is the all-new iFlight Chimera 7 Pro. This is the new version of the Chimera 7 that comes with new side panels, new motors, different flight controller, and a larger, thicker frame. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Lee from Adventure FPV, and I just received this Chimera 7 in the mail. I'm super excited about this because I do a lot of cruising flights and some mid to long range flights, do a lot of mountain diving and stuff like that, so I really wanted to step up to a 7-inch. This is my first 7-inch quad. It's also my first 6S quad, so I'm super excited to put this thing to the test. So this quad is using the Blitz F722 flight controller, 55 amp ESC. It also includes the new lightweight side panels to keep water and dirt out of the flight controller. It also features the new 2809 Zing motors, 1250 kV. The frame has also been upgraded from the 7-inch frame to a 7.5-inch frame. The arms are also thicker. The new arms are 6mm thick for a rigid design. You can either top or bottom mount your batteries on this one. It also comes with GPS that you'll need to set up and configure, and a battery indicator bottom light. It also features a full-size DJI Air unit. The dead cat form factor will also keep the props out of view. This quad is also pre-tuned and set up right out of the box. This quad's coming in at about 695 grams without a camera or a battery. So let's go ahead and open this up to see what comes in the box. Alright, so let's go ahead and open this thing up, see what we got. It looks like we get some stickers and some documentation about the GPS. It also looks like we get 2 complete sets of props, which is nice. We have our antennas, our battery pads, and a few other accessories. And we also get 2 extra battery straps. There's also some extra wiring for different receivers if you're using Crossfire or something like that. I'm just using the DJI remote controller and goggles. There's also a sticker here that tells you how to load your battery for better performance. You also need to plug in your antennas before plugging in a battery. Now this is in a props out configuration. Let's go ahead and plug in the antennas so we don't burn anything out when we put on a battery. We're gonna go ahead and install this battery pad, and we'll put on the props just to see what it looks like. We wanna make sure these are off when we're configuring in BETAFLIGHT. Now this is a test battery that I was sent from Black Roku. This thing is a beast. It's a 5200 milliamp hour with a 120C rating. And as you can see, this fits very nice. Now I also ordered a 6S Li-ion battery from iFlight, and it does fit a little bit awkward. I was able to get bow straps around it, but it is a little bit of an awkward shape. So let's go ahead and plug it in, and I'm gonna bind the DJI remote control. Press the record button, this custom button, and then you hold down the jog wheel. This will activate the binding. Then all you need to do is press the button on the air unit, and this will automatically bind. Now let's go ahead and bind the goggles. Just press the button on the goggles, and again, press the button on the air unit. Alright, now I'm going to briefly walk you through the setup and configuration of the air unit, and then we're going to go ahead and plug in to the flight controller and take a look at BETAFLIGHT settings. Alright, so we'll go ahead and remove this waterproof door on the air unit, and we'll plug in our USB Type-C cable. Now, we're going to go ahead and open up the DJI Assistant, and we're going to activate our air unit. After a successful activation, we'll go ahead and check for firmware updates, and in my case, it does look like we have one, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Now, to get to the flight controller, we're also gonna move this little waterproof port, and we'll plug in a USB Type-C, and we'll connect in BETAFLIGHT. Now, the first thing I like to do when I get connected to BETAFLIGHT is do a backup through the command line. You can do that by typing diff all, and you can save this to a file. I always save one on my hard drive in case I make a change and I want to revert back to the factory settings. It's always a smart idea. Now I'm just going to kind of browse through some of the ports, take a look at some of the configuration. This is nice because you can use this as a reference if you have something that goes wrong on yours. This quad is pre-tuned, it has a really great tune on it. I'm going to fly it with the default tune and default rates, and I will put my stuff in later after I give it a test. I'm going to go ahead and configure everything on my DJI radio. This unit is equipped with GPS, and it does come with an instruction manual. Tells you to go to the GitHub site to set it up. Now, I'm not going to show how to set this up because it can be a little bit finicky, and I don't want to be responsible for a poor setup on your quad's GPS. Okay, so I'm really excited to take this thing out on a first flight. So let's go ahead and take it out into the test field, take it for a flight. We'll take a look at some of the DVR footage. I'm also going to just kind of look and listen to the tune and see how it feels. All right, the first thing I like to typically do is on the first flight, just make sure everything's set up correctly. So just arm it, pitch forward, back, left, right, and everything looks good. Just want to make sure everything looks good before we take off. All right, so we've made it out here to the open space area. We're going to do a test flight with this. We're gonna just test the performance, maybe do a little bit of acro, but mostly just kind of testing the cruising, checking the stability. We're gonna test the flight time on this 5200 milliamp hour battery. I also have the iFlight 6S Lion battery. We're gonna test the flight time on that. So yeah, let's go out and do our first flight test. Well, I'm pretty impressed how much lift this thing actually has there. For being 3 pounds, it takes off pretty well. So we're off to a nice cruising flight here. I'm barely into the throttle at all. I'm gonna try another pack after this and try and do a little bit more, you know, maneuvering, high-speed maneuvering. This pack I'm just gonna kind of focus on cruising a little bit. We're gonna see what kind of flight times we can get with this 5200 milliamp hour battery. I'm assuming it's gonna be pretty good. The thing that excites me the most about this quad is being able to do more long-range stuff. It's going to be great for doing things like chasing. If I do any sort of vehicle chasing or anything like that, a motorcycle, this is going to be great. It has the get up and go that you need to follow something at a high speed. My camera angle is probably at about 20 degrees, maybe 25. And this thing feels really nice. The default tune feels nice to me. The rates are a little bit faster than what I typically use. I typically run really pretty slow rates, so I didn't change them, but it feels really nice. The sound of this quad is amazing as well. I can hear this thing all the way across the field when I'm flying it, so it's definitely not quiet, but I wasn't expecting it to be quiet, but honestly, I really enjoy the sound that it produces. I do notice a bit of a performance difference with the way that it turns a little bit. It definitely floats a lot more. As you let off the throttle, it doesn't sink as fast as you would think that it would because of those props. That will be something I want to get used to before I take it out and do any sort of risky cliff diving or anything like that. I'm not seeing any sort of jello or anything through the goggles, so that's a benefit. It is in a 4:3 aspect ratio. You can switch it to 16:9, but it's nice to have the little bit of extra room to see. I did set it to the 1200 milliwatt hack, and I am flying at 50 megabits. I can't say enough about how this quad just bites into the air and just cruises along, and it feels amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward a little bit, and I'm gonna display the flight time so you can see what the final flight time was with the 5200 milliamp hour battery. Hopefully this time lapse didn't make you too sick, but yeah, I am super impressed with this battery. This is a 5200 milliamp hour battery, 120 C rating. It is a 6S LiPo battery. I ended up getting almost 10 minutes out of this battery. That was really impressive. So let's try the iFlight 6S Lion battery. Now, I used the 4S iFlight Lion battery for my Evoque and some other quads, and man, I really like the extended flight time. Now, there are some drawbacks about using a Lion battery. You're not going to get a full throttle punch to get out of something if you're in a sticky situation, but for cruising, you're gonna, really get a lot more flight time out of it. Now, I was a little surprised with this, that I actually got less flight time on this Lion battery than I did the standard LiPo battery, but I guess I gotta remember that LiPo battery is a 5200 milliamp hour battery. I'm not used to flying a battery that big, so either way, you get some really great flight times. I ended up getting about 8.5 minutes. I probably could have went 9, but I landed because I was getting a little bit of battery sag toward the end. Okay, so I don't know exactly what the flight time was for each one of these batteries. I can tell you this, I'm exhausted. I probably got at least 9 minutes out of each pack. They felt very similar on the flight time. I could be wrong, could be off, but yeah, basically I was getting a little bit fatigued actually flying it for that long. It was probably 20 minutes straight of FPV flying, which, can be a little bit taxing on the hands and the mind and everything, but yeah, it was super, super fun. I can tell you that the Lion battery definitely had some sag. That's why I was kind of circling a little bit when I came back, because I didn't want to be too far away because I wasn't used to the flight characteristics of it. But there is so much power. I was maybe like 60% in the throttle when I was cruising. I mean, there was so much room that I could have been flying. I mean, adding to it, and you can see the camera angle is actually a little more aggressive than I normally fly. I usually fly between like, I don't know, somewhere around like 10 degrees or something. I fly at a very, very low camera angle most of the time. So this is probably, I don't know, not much more, maybe 20, 25. But you could definitely tell that I was flying faster than normal because of that camera angle. Man, this thing just rips. Now, I haven't tested out the GPS or anything like that. I've had a little bit of experience using the GPS on BETAFLIGHT before, and it's been kind of hit or miss. So I didn't want to mess around today and have an issue. I just wanted to get some footage for you guys, do the first impressions, and man, I really, really love this. This could be one of my new favorite drones right now. Now, just for fun, I did take this thing out and try to do a little bit more of a, high-speed maneuvering, some twists, some turns, some dives, some rolls. I did a power loop, but yeah, I just wanted to take this thing out, see how it performed in different scenarios. I'm super impressed with the performance of this thing. It really grips in the air. You can make nice turns with it. The maneuvers feel nice, fluid, smooth, and like I said, I am using the default tune and rate on this thing. And as I mentioned, this thing sounds like a beast. I flew this thing past myself for the first time and it sounded like a Formula car. It's amazing what it sounds like. Now, that could be a drawback for you depending on your situation. It doesn't really matter to me, the situations I'm going to be using it in. It's not going to be any sort of stealth situation, but I think it sounds pretty cool. I am absolutely blown away by the performance of this quad. I mean, I had to be cruising at like 70, 75 miles an hour, probably at 60% throttle. I wasn't even hammering it or anything. I mean, it was just pitch, just slamming, and it sounds like a beast when it flies by. It sounds incredible. This may be my new favorite quad in my lineup. It's gonna be great for, like I said, mountain diving, some long range stuff. It really makes the world feel a lot smaller with these big props. You can really get around a lot quicker. It's also gonna be great if you're looking to do chasing or anything like that. If you're looking to chase cars or motorcycles, this is gonna do it. Now, I didn't test the GPS. I did go ahead and configure it, but I did turn it back off. I've had a little bit of hit or miss luck with the BETAFLIGHT GPS, so for testing purposes, I just went ahead and turned it off. I didn't want to have any flyaways or anything crazy while I was doing a review of this, but I am very excited to have the GPS feature. If I'm flying in the mountains or you lose signal, it is nice. It's a nice peace of mind to have. If you are interested in picking one of these up, I will have an affiliate link down in the description. It will not cost you anything extra, but it will help my channel grow. I want to thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you like my content. We will see you in the next one.